Tonight, Sydney's Ukrainian community is marking the third anniversary of Russia's invasion as President Volodymyr Zelensky stuns the world with an offer to quit.
Chris Reason is at St Mary's Cathedral this evening. Chris, no doubt it's a solemn occasion.
It is indeed, guys. About 500 people have gathered here at St Mary's, led by the Premier Chris Minns, Australia's ambassador from Ukraine, also the new Cardinal Bishop Beshok, and plus other community leaders, rallies across the country. But they started this ceremony with something extremely moving and poignant. They sounded the air raid sirens that went off and woke up millions of Ukrainians on this day 3 years ago as a mark of memory of what happened back then. Let's take a listen. A memorial, they say, though, has been marred and spoiled by a protest held in Bondi yesterday by pro-Russian sympathisers. The community leaders here say it should never have gone ahead. On the third anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Bondi is invaded by pro-Russian activists, a convoy of utes and camouflage trucks with police escort. Local Ukrainians appalled.
I'm sure there would be a lot of people in our community that would be fearful. A lot of members of our community have been targeted by these people.
They equate the Z insignia used by Russia since the invasion as a swastika that should be banned.
A symbol that currently is waging a genocidal war in Europe.
In Canberra, a show of strength as diplomatic staff from 5 continents gathered, offering prayers for peace as the government launched more trade bans and sanctions against 140+ Russians.
I reaffirmed Australia's resolute support for Ukraine.
It's a fight for civilisation. It's a fight against a dictator, a murderous dictator.
While in Ukraine, the President Volodymyr Zelensky, after being called a dictator by US President Trump, stunned the world with an offer to quit. If you really need me to give up my post, I'm ready, he said, if Ukraine can join NATO. A direct jab at Trump after he'd ruled it out in peace talks as the US president pushed ahead with demands for the tiny nation to hand over half its mining and minerals revenue in a $700 billion deal. Some saying that's not negotiation, it's extortion. Chris Reason, 7 News.
Well, back home, and the federal government has issued Russia with a fresh round of sanctions on the third anniversary of that invasion of Ukraine. Commemorations around the country are taking place today to pay tribute to the lives lost during the conflict. Well, our reporter Georgia Ma joins us now from a ceremony in Sydney CBD. Good evening, Georgia. What's the mood like there tonight?
It's been a really sombre yet defiant mood here on the steps of St Mary's Cathedral in Sydney, Janice. Hundreds of people have turned out to commemorate the 3-year anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Many of these people are Ukrainian refugees who have been displaced by the war and now live here in Australia. We've heard from many dignitaries, including the New South Wales Premier Chris Minns and the Ukrainian ambassador to Australia. But the main focus of the evening has been reflecting on the human cost of the war and remembering the 46,000 Ukrainians who have lost their lives. The ceremony started with a really sobering moment when a commemorative air raid siren rang out through the crowd. Many ceremonies like this are happening across the country tonight, including in Melbourne's Federation Square. Now, the Australian government today announced a fresh range of sanctions against the Russians, the 14,000 now since the war began.
The government has imposed further sanctions against 149 individuals and entities involved in enabling Russia's war of aggression. This is the largest sanctions package Australia has put in place since February 2022. We have also tightened further trade bans on Russia by prohibiting the supply of commercial drones and components. Australia supports all meaningful progress towards a just and enduring peace for Ukraine and for security and stability in Europe. For any peace deal to be successful, Ukraine must be part of those negotiations.
military forces of Russia launched an attack.
Now, Australia has committed around $1.5 billion in aid to Ukraine since Russia's full-scale invasion. Foreign Minister Penny Wong made clear today that Australia's ironclad commitment to Ukraine will continue. Janice?
Thank you so much. That's our reporter Georgia Ma updating us from Sydney.